The days of shaking hands and getting permission to get on land, those days are gone.
Mostly, I think.
Could it be for a good reason? We're going to be talking about that today. There's probably good reason why these landowners aren't letting everybody come on and hunt on their property. And that handshake isn't worth too much no more because we kind of did it.
Yeah.
People are just getting tired of it.
Yeah. People,
They're literally just getting tired of having to clean up other people's messes. And, it takes one or two bad experiences and then it's no longer worth it.
one or maybe two or three reasons why you should pick an outfitter, a high fence outfitter, and one or two reasons why you shouldn't.
Okay, the why not? That's actually fairly easy. If you're a big do-it-yourself kind of person and you like a huge challenge, we're probably not your cup of tea.
Yep.
If you have questions or if you just don't have the time to put into doing it yourself and to do all that, then we're probably what you need to come talk to.
A lot of folks hate on high fence hunting or hunting outfitters, and they're like, you need to go door knocking or
Why
public
should I pay
land
for a hunt if it's my God-given right? Yeah, it's your God-given right. You can go do it.
Go do it. But there's a place for high fence hunting. 3 years ago, I was totally against it. But after being educated about it, talking to people like Josh, getting our fingers intermixed in outfitting and stuff, doing our own deal, I got it. Like, I fully understand it. And that's what we hope to do today is maybe give you some insight on why the high fence ranches and high fence outfitters, or just outfitters in itself, are a good thing. There's a lot of good that comes out of it. It's not all bad.
You're watching the Cast&Blast podcast. Real fishing, real hunting, real talk. Today's episode is brought to you by J2 Deer and Hog Attracting.
Are the days of shaking hands and getting permission to go hunt on a perfect stranger's land and asking for permission and getting on access to that property, are the days of that gone?
I don't know if it's gone, but it's getting a heck of a lot closer to being gone.
Today we have a special guest with us, Josh Koch from Monteith Ranch here in Salado, Texas. He's the head of operations for the ranch, and we thought we'd bring somebody in to talk not just the aspect from the hunters, because you're a hunter and you've been out there and you've been shaking hands before and had that, perspective. But now you're on the other side where you guys are, taking corporate clients in and bringing in hunters that, are looking for an experience, and you guys get it done the way you get it done. And I think you have another perspective saying, hey, this is what goes into that to get that accomplished. But you also know the benefits of someone paying the money to go and get on a hunt. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and your history with the ranch, and then we'll get into that.
Okay. Thank y'all for having me on here. I've been basically a part of the Monteith Ranch since 2006. I actually took over full management of the ranch in January of 2018. So I got quite an extensive history on the Monteith Ranch. And I started out in my hunting career just like what you're talking about, knocking on doors, trying to get permission and everything else. And, I've evolved into where now this is my full-time career is running a ranch, which, we are part cattle, but the majority of what we do is outfitting to not necessarily just corporate clients, but clients period. We don't have any more leasers, nothing like that anymore. It's all
no day hunts.
No day hunts. If we do, it'll be like a doe day, and it's still semi-guided.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take you out, put you in a stand, pick you up, and bring you back type of deal. No more wandering around the ranch unsupervised, basically, is what
So
it
you
is.
can't pay to access this property and be the only one on the property roaming around, shooting whatever you want and doing whatever you want on the property.
Correct. We don't do that anymore. And, there's a slew of legal reasons to financial reasons why you just can't do that anymore.
Liabilities.
Not just for you as the ranch head of operations, but for the landowner
Property
itself
owners.
and the business and everything. I mean, we talk about it all the time. There's probably good reason why these landowners aren't letting everybody come on and hunt on their property. And that handshake isn't worth too much no more because we kind of did it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 50-50 that we did it to ourselves as far as a lot of the the handshake hunting leases or their permission to access. If you look at all the WEHAs across the states, the walk-in hunting access areas and stuff, that's a good example. There's still a lot of property owners out there that will lease their land to the government, allow hunting on it, walk-in access only, and you'll see that for 2 or 3 years. You'll see that property owner do that, then they take it back, and they're like, I'm done with this. Because you get jackwagons out there cutting locks, taking gates off, the hinges, leaving trash, poaching animals, doing things they're not supposed to do. So there's a lot of people that complain about not having hunting access, but we got to police ourselves up because 50% of that to me is on us. We done it collectively as a whole.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head with most of that statement, and unfortunately, you make that statement, and especially in this day of social media and everything else, there's going to be 500 people that are going to jump on the bandwagon. Well, I always leave it better than I found it. Well, that may absolutely be the case, but it's the 5 people that don't do that ruin it, unfortunately, for everybody else.
Man, I mean,
and sometimes it just takes one.
And you're right, it does. And, there's been some new laws and some other things, and I'm not going to get fully into that because I'm not 100% certain. And so I'm certainly not going to quote law on here and give legal advice.
Oh, we can bring those guys on any day.
But,
there'll be plenty of barracks lawyers in the comments.
There you go.
But used to, in the past, Texas's liability laws and stuff were such that if you were to come out the property, get injured, you could theoretically turn around and sue the property. Now, whether you'd win or not is a different story. It's basically based off gross negligence per se. But it wasn't just you as an individual. You got hurt, you filed your insurance claim or whatever. In theory, and I'm sure it's happened before because I've read a couple of these, the insurance company could turn around and sue the property owner.
Wow.
I'm sure that's super rare, and whether or not they want or not is something to be told. But, you get into other states that have a lot of public and a lot of walk-on and stuff like that. The personal liability for the owners doesn't exist in those state laws. But like you said, you're seeing it disappear slowly and slowly, even in the big western states.
Yeah.
You're starting to see it disappear. And that's because, well, for one, there's, of course, a larger population of people, so tracts and lands are starting to get smaller so that the land just doesn't exist anymore. But also, people are just getting tired of it.
Yeah, people.
They're literally just getting tired of having to clean up other people's messes. And, it takes 1 or 2 bad experiences, and then it's no longer worth it. Type of deal.
I mean, if you invite a bunch of guests to your house, and you invite 10 people to your house, 2 of those 10 people just trash your place, don't respect you, don't respect your home, are you going to invite them back? Are you going to let them come back? Yeah. Probably not.
So that same concept kind of, makes it hard for us that still want to go out there and shake hands and, meet people with a property that be like, hey, now I'm sure this is still going on, and I know it is because, man, you talked about this is how you hunted Kansas your whole time there.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of states, there's still a lot of door knocking happening and a lot that can, a lot of good that can come out of it. One, the door knocking, though, people, and to me, what it seems like is they're more worried about, paying somebody than building a relationship. If you're door knocking and you're asking for permission to hunt a piece of property, I think you need to build a relationship with that property owner. If you're going out to hunt, you see him out cutting wood that day, dude, don't go hunt. Go help that guy cut that wood. Yeah. And, that'll go a lot further than $1 will for a lot of folks.
On the flip side, if I'm a hunter that doesn't have a whole lot of time, I don't have if I'm looking to go on to book a hunt with, say, Monteith, obviously, I don't have access to my own land. And maybe I do, but I want to go and get a special kind of experience. Let's just take all the different things off the menu right now and just say whitetail hunting. Mm-hmm. In order for me to go on a successful whitetail hunt somewhere, I need to have access to the land legally.
That's the hardest part, access to land.
Then I need to go and spend my time scouting that property. I need a game plan. I need to see if there's what the resources are on that property for that animal, food and all that, right? Shelter, water. And then I need to start kind of patterning and trying to do that,
Agreed. That's all kind of byproducts of it. Like I 100% agree, but you can't even do that if you don't have access to hunting, right?
100%.
So that's, yeah.
But if I only have 1 week in a year to do that,
Yep.
how am I going to accomplish all that in that, time, right? I got 1 weekend.
And that's what the premises of this whole episode is about. Is a lot of folks hate on high fence hunting or hunting outfitters, and they're like, you need to go door knocking or
Why should I
public
pay
land.
for a hunt if
Yeah.
it's my God given right? Yeah, it's your God given right. You can go do it.
Go do it. But there's a place for high fence hunting. 3 years ago, I was totally against it. But after being educated about it, talking to people like Josh, getting our fingers intermixed in outfitting and stuff,
Yep.
doing our own deal, I got it. Like, I fully understand it. And that's what we hope to do today, is maybe give you some insight on why the high fence ranches and high fence outfitters, or just outfitters in itself, are a good thing. There's a lot of good that comes out of it. It's not all bad.
I'm going to turn it over to Josh, but I'm going to ask you one question. We're saying the term high fence, it doesn't have to be a high fence operation.
Yeah.
It could be a low fence operation. It could be a property that you're, the key is someone has to pay you to access this land. That's what it is.
Correct.
Monteith just so happens to be a portion of it, and I'll let you get into the details of how much of it is fenced in for, hunting operations, how much of it is, dedicated to cattle and all that stuff. But that's the reason why you're able to keep these animals there for the hunters is some sort of fence.
Correct. And that's, for the most part, it's true. I've heard it both ways. You're trying to keep animals in, but you're also trying to keep animals out.
Okay.
Especially when you heavily manage your whitetail. Like, we run a native herd of whitetail. We haven't seeded it with big bucks. There's been genetics.
Good genetics.
There's been genetics brought in, and most of that was done previous to me. But, you can't take a big pen raised buck and turn him loose on, 1,100, 1,200 acres. He's not going to know how to fight. So when he does get his sexual orientation going on at 2 years old during the rut, he's going to get whooped up one side and down the other by the native deer. So basically what I'm getting at is, the fence is there to keep animals in, but it's also to keep animals out so you can manage what you have going on. And then, too, what a lot of people look past is, as hunters, we're all supposed to be conservationists, right?
Yeah.
That should be our number one goal. A true hunter is conservation. I hear it all the time, and I might go down a rabbit hole on this one. And
Let's go.
We got time.
Let's go.
But I hear it all the time. Well, I'm a meat hunter. Unless you are going out with Grandpappy's old 30-30 and shooting a deer off the back porch and butchering it up yourself and putting it in your freezer and everything else, that is the only way that you can claim to be a meat hunter, because it is a whole lot cheaper to go buy 40 pounds of hamburger at HEB than it is to go deer hunting.
Speak.
So, and I'm going to irritate a lot of people with that comment.
Well, we can do the math here.
It didn't used to be, and I think that's where hunting was free meat, kind of very cheap meat used to be. But you're right, it's not anymore.
Well, to defend both of you, yes. However, what we're forgetting here is, where the key thing is, he hit the nail on the head. If you're doing it yourself, you're probably talking about, it didn't used to be that expensive, right?
Processor.
Yeah, because processing didn't cost as much as it does now.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I almost pay more for processing than I pay for some of these meat hunts that are being offered,
Oh, yeah. It all depends on what you want to get cut.
Right.
We had to cull some Pierre David cows out of our operation. And all the guides we got together, oh, yeah, we'll take it down there. We'll get some snack sticks made and da-da-da-da. And we took it to a very reputable processor. They did an excellent job. It was a great product. It was done timely. I could have paid my mortgage payment for what it cost me to get it processed.
That's what's wild.
And we do processing at our ranch, and we just don't do it full time. So I wasn't going to gear up everything to do one animal.
Sure.
I understand the cost. I'm not complaining about the cost, but, it was just expensive. So kind of back to where we were going with that, without getting too far down that rabbit hole, by the time you buy a grinder, you buy the packaging to put the meat in, if you're going to add beef fat, if you're going to do this, you're going to do that, whatever you're going to do, it is still cheaper, no matter which way you cut it, slice it, to go buy meat at HEB or
These are
Walmart
facts.
or whatever. And people are going to argue that upside and one side and down the other. But I mean, you shoot a mature whitetail buck in this area, you know, he's on the heavy side, 160 on that. That is on the heavy
that's
side.
a heavy deer here.
He's actually, and I know this for a fact because we weigh our deer and everything else. Your average mature buck, I'm talking 5+ years older, is going to be about 135 to 140 on a good solid deer. And that's probably pre rut, not post rut. Post rut, you're going to drop down into 125 ish or whatever. And then you're losing a lot of the quality of meat of a you might as well just grind them up and make sausage out of a good. I'm talking a solid mature deer here. I'm not talking about a 3-year-old or anything else like that. Off that, say we'll use 140 for easy numbers. You're only going to actually harvest about 40% of usable meat off that deer. So what is that? 50 pounds total?
Yeah, 45, 50 pounds.
So by the time you trim it up and you do all this, we'll call it 45 pounds of meat. You know,
easy math, yeah.
So either way, but so basically what I'm getting at with this whole line of conversation without, you know, my ADD kicking in too bad here or whatever is all true hunters are conservationists at heart. And so my biggest argument when anybody ever starts in on me on the high fence, and because I promise you, there's nobody that's really going to have any original comments when they're going to bash me coming up, because I've heard it all, you know.
I challenge you.
Yeah. There you go. There's a challenge for your viewers. Be original. But you know, I can think of 3 species just right off the top of my head without doing a whole lot of research that high fence and hunting has saved. You know, you got your Barrasinga, your Arabian Oryx. There's I just had it on the tip of my tongue earlier. We actually talked about it earlier.
Is it Axis is one, too?
No, Axis isn't one of them. Black buck or Pierre David. That's what I was going to say. Pierre David. Those are 3 species that were brought back because of hunters. And there's also, you can Google
the whitetail alone. Yeah, you could. Some could say there was at one point we were running out of those.
100% we were just back home, southeast Oklahoma, where my dad lives. Like he said, when he was growing up, if anybody in the area shot a deer during deer season when he was a kid, it was in the newspapers.
Wow.
Like, there wasn't very many deer. You can't drive down the road without hitting a deer dang near down there, you know. And it's all through conservation efforts.
That has a lot to do with the deer crossing signs, but we won't get into that.
Well, they need to make them blue so they see them better.
But so that's my number one argument when it comes to high fence. And it's also we're allowing to mix different species, you know, and ultimately, and I'm not going to lie, but ultimately it's so we can control our environment better is the whole reason behind high fencing and everything else. And there's a lot of people that lease and hunt under high fences, and it's just a whole different experience. And when I'm talking about high fences, I'm not talking about 5-acre pen that there ain't a tree one on it. And there's a water trough and a feeder.
Right.
And that animal ain't got a chance in the world. That's a canned hunt, in my opinion.
That's a canned hunt. You're right.
Yeah, it's completely different than what we're talking.
What's the phrase? Shooting fish out of a barrel?
Yeah. You know, and that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 and up acreage places where the deer have a habitat out there. You know, they actually have their own habitat and everything else, and we're out there trying to manage a herd for better deer, introduce other species for other hunting opportunities. Because you know, I'm really not sure how to compare this, especially on a public forum. I got some ideas, but I'm not going to say that on a public forum.
Raw and unfiltered, let it go.
This is a raw and unfiltered fishing and hunting podcast.
If you had to eat a steak every day for the rest of your life, it would get boring after a while. Well, for some people, shooting a whitetail every year after a while gets boring. So they want to shoot multitudes of species. You know, if you look on somebody's wall and they got all these species and every one of them has a story behind it. Who cares if they jumped off the back of a horse with a spear and stuck it or shot? It's got its own story and that's unique to that person. And that's where high fences really come into play is, you know, you can do a multitude of species, have different experiences doing that, and bring a group of friends or whatever to have a good time. And it doesn't have to be October through February for MLD, or even worse, you know, October through the end of January for regular. And, you know, if you're just rifle, it's November through January or whatever. We offer it where you can do it year round.
There's one thing that I really want to bring up for high fence hunting. For a lot of people say it's cruel for the animals, right? You're keeping them in a high fenced area, but like you said, this is high acreage high fence that we're talking about, not pen hunts, like Josh said. So you think it's cruel to the animal, but if you haven't seen how cruel nature is the cruelest thing on this earth. Those high fence animals, oftentimes, they live a very cush life, and they're not taken until maturity. You know what I mean? They're going to be taken at maturity the majority of the time, live that cush life in an area that, like you said, there's animals being kept out. So, that's a good life for the animal. That's all I'm saying. And when that hunter shoots that animal, it's a much easier, less stressful death than probably what nature would give that animal.
More humane. And most of these good operations actually built a better habitat that is more conducive for those animals.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, you guys got how many acres out there?
The main ranch itself is about 1,900 acres. Plus, we got some satellite pastures, and then we lease a little over 6,500 acres more. But that's all the low fence. But our high fence is roughly, every time you measure, you get a different number.
Yeah.
But I would say comfortably a little over 1,100 acres.
That's a Texan way there, though. That's Texan math.
That'd be comfortable. So somebody's not going to call me out. Somebody's not going to go out there with Onyx.
Sure.
It's only 1,099. Okay. Good for you. But either
thumbs
way,
up.
And like you said, we have protein stations in the wintertime. If it's bad, we're throwing out hay, so they're not going to starve to death.
Right.
Granted, it's an investment for us, and we're protecting our investment, but the cruelty argument cannot be used. Like you said, those animals, even though they're wild animals, you're not going to go out there and pet one. Go try. It ain't going to happen. They're living a better life than that deer that's free range 100% of its life and
fighting resources with other animals.
Like we just came out of a severe drought.
Right.
We made sure I spent most of my summer hauling water. At least 2 or 3 days a week, I was hauling water to water troughs. That way you didn't crowd a bunch of animals right around the natural water
But you're
sources.
cruel to them animals.
Well, that dog in your backyard, then I guess you're cruel to that dog in its backyard.
Yeah.
That they don't know most of the time that they're per se in a high fence.
And that's kind of the point of this episode. It is education. Like if you want to complain about a lot of high fence, I was that guy. Like I was a guy that said totally against high fencing until you get educated on it and you see the pros that come out of it and you understand what nature is and that animal does live a good life and it dies a better death than what nature would give it.
Can I make a confession here? I've never been to a
Repent.
Yeah, it depends. I've never been to a high fence ranch or operation.
I haven't either, but I want to.
Yeah, I've never done it. I don't know exactly how it goes there. I got an idea because of research and stuff like that, but to see it myself and do it and say I've been to a high fence.
Why have you never been though, Ben?
For me personally, it's budget.
Me too, the same thing. And I think that's the same for most.
However, having done things the way I've done them here in the past recent years, whether it was through guiding myself, running an operation ourselves, finding land access and all that stuff, and the cost and time it took me to do that, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really thinking and considering about lowering the time and effort it took me to do all that and accomplish that way.
Yeah.
And increase my success and experience, right? Because I plan to do it with some buddies or family.
Yep.
And plan it out to where I can do it one time with no matter the outcome, because it's hunting still, right? You're going to, nature's going to do what nature does. But I want to go with the intent of having an experience that me and my buddies or me and my family can enjoy. So now I'm rethinking how I do a full season. And go, well, I spent X amount of dollars, time and effort. Jimmy, you and I put a lot of money and time on the ground go hunt public land, right? Now, can I afford to do that one time a year and walk away with a different kind of experience.
Well,
I want
Josh-
to check it out.
Josh kind of hit the nail on the head earlier when he said, "Man, if you're a meat hunter, unless you're out there, napping your own broadheads and building your own bows and arrows and whatever, it's not free, it's not cheap."
No, man.
So, like you said, by the time you factor in your gear, whatever gear it's gonna be, you factor in your fuel, your food. A lot of people take time off during the work. You're losing, or during the week hunting season, you're losing money. Then at that point, you could have called Josh up and said, "Bro, I'll take a 150-inch buck. What do you got?"
Yeah.
And you would have spent the same amount of hunting all year. Now, that comes down to priority. Is your priority 150-inch buck, or is your priority being out in the woods? If you got a full-time job, that is your main priority. So you got to pick between, am I taking time off work, or am I going to call Josh and go get me a good buck because I know he can get it done for me?
Can I tell you what my priority is?
Yeah, it's going to change for everybody. What is it?
To not eat tag soup.
Well, call Josh.
Well, still no guarantees. We don't guarantee anything. If they're not in a pen, you got to hunt them.
Yeah.
That's the reason this right here kind of come up. That's good.
Yeah,
Like it's not a guarantee.
Now, don't get me wrong. You are going to find them high fence operations that offer a guarantee. Every high fence operation is different.
I will say that most of them say guaranteed opportunity.
That's kind of where we're at. We try to say 100. What we're trying to put you on, and keep in mind we're in Central Texas, Bell County. We don't have a bunch of brought in genetics. We try to go for about 130-inch deer. Is what where we're at. And
That's a solid deer.
And generally, you're going to have at least an opportunity. Now, definition of opportunity is probably different for everybody else. We've had clients come out, and we've had 130 or better. Well, one experience last year was considerably better than 130-inch deer. He walked through one opening, got to another opening, walked through another opening, and the hunter never could get on him. And that just comes down to the skill level of the hunter. Now, do you consider that an opportunity? I do. They didn't. And there was some argument about it. And
You can't make everybody happy.
You can't. We've had clients take 3 shots at deer, miss all 3, didn't want to pay. I didn't have an opportunity. You shot 3 times.
oh yeah, and two, we're of the opinion like our basic package comes with a whitetail buck, 1 or 2 does, depending on how many MLD tags we have, and then unlimited hogs and predators if you see them. But if you go out there, you roll out there, and you choose the option, sit by yourself, and you shoot a doe, you automatically owe me for the cost of your hunt because I don't care what you did. It could have been the last 2 minutes of daylight, but you done blowed that spot. Well, people say blow it. I mean, I've killed trophy buck back to back in the same stand. It's just the way the pattern was. You still have disturbed the hunting area. So, anyway, we're going down another rabbit hole with all that. But, it's you're 100% right. You got the guys that, okay, if your life is about the camp life and everything else, we're not your cup of tea. But you got your, what I would call now, your average American family. Both parents work 40-plus hours a week job. The kids are probably in extracurricular activities or so forth or whatever. You don't have time to put the proper amount of time into a deer lease.
Yeah.
And most of your deer leases are going to be, say, an hour to 2 to 3 hours away. So not only is it about the cost, but it's also about managing your time. You can come out with us for a weekend, and it can be a family event if you'd like to be. You can bring mom, dad, the kids, everybody. The people that want to hunt. The other people hang out at our lodge. And we got TV, pool tables, all this other stuff. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be just about the killing when it comes to, what we're talking about.
There's a whole experience involved.
High fence and everything else. It's a product that we're offering. And a big part of it, too, that we see a lot of arguments with is, high fencing and then swapping from actually just leasing the handshake leases, or even not even so much handshake lease, but, okay, here's your yearly lease. You sign it, da-da-da, it's hands-off type of deal. You're paying, say, $20 an acre on a 1,000-acre place. What is that, $20,000?
Yeah.
By the time that landowner pays for all the fence maintenance and everything else that he has to do just to maintain not even a high fence place, a low fence place, that $20,000
didn't go too far.
If the well goes out, there goes your $20,000. Well, I can take that $1,000 and invest, say, $1 million, and then finally see an ROI in probably 5, 6, 7 years or whatever. but it's also put so much more into that property for that landowner. You have increased the value of that land with the infrastructure that you put on there, whether it's blinds, feeders, a nice lodge, so on and so on. And so people like to complain that we're doing this. Well, give you one or two options. We either do that and keep the piece as a 1,000 acre piece of property, or that landowner who say he is an absentee landowner he gets tired, doesn't want to, you know what he's going to do? He's going to sell it to the developer.
Yep. Yeah. And put houses on it.
And I don't care if that guy says, "Oh, I'm never going to develop it," or unless you write it into the contract, he's going to at least cut it up minimum 10-acre lots.
Or they'll end up with solar panels or windmills on it.
Just look at the land and properties around us. You know, we've been here long enough to see this area become that.
Yep.
And it's sad, but there's a reason. And you just hit the nail on the head. That was what we wanted to talk about. It's like there's a reason behind those handshake agreements are kind of going away. It isn't because there's a stigma or this and that. It all comes down to that a landowner has options, and there's only so many options. I can either just let you come on my property every year and leave it worse than you found it, right? Or, you know what? That's not worth it to me no more. Even if you were kicking me back a couple grand a year. Even if that was the case, it's like, man, that's not worth the trouble. I'm going to parcel this out and sell it to someone else that can do something better with it. Or maybe I'll just,
Well, that's another thing. We hear that a lot is like, man, all these big property owners are selling out to, developers and things. Their hands are tied sometimes. I mean, let's think about this. If you're a big property owner, there's so much operational cost that goes into just owning property that people think, oh, you just own a bunch of property, you're rich. Like, you just got that land. Well, there's a lot of costs that come along with that.
Is it land poor? Like, I'm land poor.
Yeah, I'm land poor. One, property taxes, they're not getting any cheaper. And any taxes, what do we get? Like 67 cents on every dollar that we have. Everything else goes to some kind of tax, somewhere around there. I don't know the exact number, but that operational cost. So we live in a capitalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I'm a landowner and I run a cattle operation like you guys do too, well, the cattle beef is like oil. It's up and down, and these bills don't stop. When the market's down, the bills keep coming, and they're often higher when the market's down. So
you got any? You said the beef and oil goes like this, right?
Yeah.
What direction do the bills go?
The bills just they go like this. Right?
Electricity, all those things. They've never done this.
So
they've only done this.
If I'm a landowner, I'm looking for supplemental income, and if I got all that land, I got a good hunting operation. Well, hunting operation, there's not a whole lot of money in it, but there is supplemental income if it's managed right,
Right.
And so as a big property, if I was a big property owner, I fully understand the supplemental income that comes off of that. It's in the news all the time. Farmers and ranchers all the time in the news. Like, we got to help our farmers and ranchers. They are the people that keep this country fed and going. And we're constantly shitting on them because of our opinions about hunting. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't understand the operational cost of big property ownership, it's kind of hard to throw a rock at a glass house.
Yeah. Well, I think we kind of got a good idea of the benefits of going that route versus, saying, I'm just going to go hunt public or anything.
It's perspective too. How many people go to a convenience store rather than going to, the big
Sam's.
grocery store?
Yeah.
Sam's, right?
Supermarket or something like that.
So hunting season, view hunting season as like a project, like a boat, ATV, a car project or something. That's your hunting season. Or you can just go get a turnkey car. You don't need a project, and that's a hunting outfitter. You know what I mean? So how much do you want to put into it? That's my perspective of it.
That's a great analogy. I never really thought about it quite, but that is a great analogy. You want to build a car from the ground up, or do you want to just go put a key in it, take off and drive?
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody, but I mean, one of the biggest points I want to get across and it's 100% an opinion, because that's exactly what it is, but hunters need to quit bashing other hunters.
Oh man.
Say it again.
We already fight enough for our rights, not only for our gun rights, but our right to hunt. And there are states that are squashing these rights to hunt. Oregon passed some weird laws here recently. I don't know if I think it got on a bill or
Yeah,
something.
they were trying.
Either way, but that, if we continued to be divided amongst our community, it just makes it easier for the buzzards to pick away at us at the edges, and it just drives me nuts. I see it on social media all the time about hunters bashing other hunters for what they want to do. Okay, we're raw and unfiltered, so I'm going to use this. What you like, you might like a big gal and you might like a skinny gal. Who cares? It's what you like.
Yeah.
If Joe Blow wants to go out, show up, step out of his car, grab his gun and go sit in a stand and shoot a deer, and he had a great time doing it, man, good for him.
Yep.
Or if Joe Blow wants to go out there and roll around some cow shit and put some army paint on and crawl through the woods and stab one, hey, that's what gets you going, man. That's your deal. That's an opinion thing. That's why I started out with this is just 100% of opinion, but that's quit forcing your opinion on other people. Hunting is hunting is hunting. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some, it's not even gray area. There are some black areas. Canned hunts I don't agree with at all. And that is not hunting. That's killing. We're talking about hunting. We're talking about harvesting animals. And I know that's another word. We're not harvesting. We're killing. Whatever. Semantics.
Tomato. Yeah.
Yeah. Hunting opportunities, man. That's what really is the hard thing to get is like, I need a hunting opportunity. Man, I just made a Facebook post the other day about, look, man, I need help. I got to hunt this year. Here's an option. Right?
I do think that Texas leads the way in far as the high fence outfitting across the nation, and I think a lot of other states, to be, I guess, explicit about, I think Oklahoma and Kansas both are adopting a lot of Kansas or Texas traits, hunting traits, and I don't think the people.
Why do you think that is? If you think about it right now, Texas, it's no secret. Texas,
It comes down to money.
Well, Texas is like a hub. Like it draws.
We're the golden standard. Texas is the golden standard for high fence outfit or just hunting outfitters itself.
And Texas is a perfect example of a state that doesn't have a lot of public land.
I think, what is it, less than 1%?
Less than 1%. Yeah.
Perfect example, or perfect.
But they'll tell you there's over 1 million acres, but not many of that's huntable.
Okay, so let's just say it. If Texas is 99% privately owned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's only so many of those privately owned, we'll call them ranches, right? Properties. They need to be named as properties. Of these, that's 99%. There only so many of those are a place where you can literally get access to. And now we have all these. So if I can't get on a high fence ranch, right, and I can't get on public land here in Texas, what's my option? Go hunt in Kansas. Go hunt in Oklahoma. Go hunt here. Now, what's happening in those states?
Well, those states are pricing out-of-state hunters out. I mean, I think it's $700 to get a non-residential tag in Oklahoma now.
And that's
2 years
public.
ago it was $300, $345. It's like $700.
And that's not even the whole story of it too. Is I know. I want to say it's Kansas or whatever. They're limiting the amount of out-of-state tags they're going to start issuing now.
Yeah, lottery.
That's it.
And I don't disagree with them. If that's what they want to do, I fully think the resident ought to have a better opportunity, priority to hunt his own state already.
I agree.
But you're going down a road too where public land hunters, and you see this all over social media, and I've heard it face to face with. They're still going to gripe about something like, oh, old Joe Blow, he had Texas license plate. He come in there and he was walking with the wind at his back and he blew him out of there. I mean, they basically what I'm getting to is, once again, as a hunting community, we need to quit bashing each other on social media and everything else, come together, and maybe that guy just don't know any better. There's could be a multitude of reasons for it.
Maybe instead of putting it on social media, walk up to the guy, shake his hand, and say, "Hey, man, I was sitting right here with this and that." They might have not even known you were there. We've done it 100 times.
Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think? I don't know. We're all pretty much around the same age. Do you think a young man today going to knock on a door? I say young man, 22, 23, something like that. Do you think when they go knock on a door, it'd be the same as when we were a young man knocking on a door? Same. I'm talking about same interaction, the same.
That's a good question.
You know what I mean?
I absolutely think no.
I'm
because as a society, we have changed.
We've got a cultural difference now, and the property owners are probably our age or older, And we know how we would approach that situation. And when you got a younger man coming up, probably approaching it in the what generation are they? I don't even know.
Gen Z, I
The
think.
Gen Z way. It's probably not going to fare that well. You know what I mean?
It's not, and you made a really good point too. The property owners, at least around here, if not corporate property owners now. I know several people that lease timberland and stuff like that or whatever, but you're going to be going and talking to an old farmer. If you show up and your hair's down to your shoulders and you're wearing, t-shirt and shorts and drive up with a truck with flashy wheels or whatever, which is the cool thing now. I'm not saying there's
like every 20-year-old in Texas.
And there's going to be a select few that aren't that way. But if you show, that farmer's going to go, no. And that kid might be the best kid
that's
in
what
the
I was
world.
going to say.
That
Carolina.
The Carolina squat.
Then he ain't the best kid in the world. He's got the Carolina squat going on.
But yeah, you're right. That might be the best person that landowner could have on there. But if you don't present yourself that way, then it may just be a done deal for you.
If you don't present your way in a way that he feels is accurate, they're going to judge just as much as anybody else. And so there's nothing wrong with him if that's what he's into and everything else, but he's going to be judged.
That's the point
by
I'm
a
making.
different generation.
Yep.
And
I think that's a big issue with getting access nowadays.
Well, and two, there's been a bunch of, and I think social media has opened everybody's eyes to it and just made it that much worse, is that there's, used to be handshake deals and everything. Well, my property got tore up. This happened, this happened, this happened. So all that stuff's going away, and it's not even just handshake deals. Like we talked about leasing earlier or whatever. You're a large property owner of 1,000 acres. And just for easy numbers, because I don't want to get a bunch of backlash, that's too many people, but you got 1,000 acres, you lease it for $40,000, and you put 10 guys on it. That's 10 personalities you got to deal with.
Yep.
And I don't even care if you are only, as a property owner, you're only supposed to have to deal with one leaser. You've lost control of your land for at least 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing that goes against the handshake deals and the old school deer leases and everything else is people are just tired of people being entitled and feeling they have something. And then, you start about losing control of their land. And as these people get older, the ownership and stuff, we're getting older, we're getting less and less tolerant of stuff, So,
ask my wife.
In general.
So, I mean, there's just, you can hit this argument from all sides of the fence. And of course, this is what I do, so I don't want to hear any negativity about it. But, granted, we are limited access and so on and so on, but we're doing, the good outweighs the evil by far when it comes to high fence hunting and corporate hunting on the right type of high fence hunting, and you got people that are just you're not going to want some corporate lawyer or something like that. And I don't even know why I said lawyer, but you got these guys, he may only have 48 hours to get this done because that's the kind of life he lives. He can, in certain high fence situations, and if he's got the money, more power to him, he can fly in on his private jet, walk off, go kill something, get back on his private jet, and never leave the property. It's, like you said, we're a capitalist society. People have found that you can make money doing this, and I kind of grin when I say make money doing this because our margins are not that great.
No, that's what people do need to understand. And everybody, me included, was complaining about that, the hunting, the outfitter cost until we become an outfitter. And then I'm like, oh my God,
how much goes into it.
We go in saying, we're going to charge this much. That's all we're going to charge. We're doing this for the blue collar people.
We gave it away, guys.
Yeah. We were almost giving away. Like we were paying, people would come hunt and we're out money when they showed up. So we had to change that.
So let me ask you this. You've been doing it a while and you've had clients come out there. How many clients have you had, that were doing hunting the other conventional way? Like, hey man, I used to have a lease. My lease was, you can drive 9 hours away and still be halfway in Texas here. How many of those guys?
We get a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot of them guys that said, just it wasn't worth us having a lease anymore.
There you go.
And we can run these numbers however you want to or whatever, but let's just say on average it costs you $3,000, and that's for a quality lease. Now, you can go find stuff cheaper. I'm not going to argue that in any way, shape, or form. But you want a quality lease. excuse me, and that doesn't even include houseware. That's just a water and electricity for you to park your camper. That's $3,000. Well, you got your camper. You know, well, I already had a camper or whatever. Well, you still got to pay the fuel to drive down there and everything else. Then you got your gas back and forth. You got all this. So you're going to end up paying, let's be real, $6,000 to $7,000 bare minimum to have this lease. Well, you can spend that kind of money and come out and you can kill 2 or 3 different animals and have a weekend of fun and everything else, you know. So when you talk about cost and everything else, it's actually comparable to. Now, I'm not talking about going to the G2 and living in a 5-star and having a private
white
chef.
linens and all that stuff.
You know, I'm not talking about that, you know, but it's comparable cost-wise. It really is.
And there's different prices for, you know, all different ranches and hunt outfitters. They got different prices. You know, I think we were probably the lowest of the low that you're probably going to find. But like you said,
I'm just curiosity. What was your basic whitetail hunt?
$300 for meat hunt, doe hunt, 25 for.
What all did that include? Just the animal?
Yeah, just
So skin and quartering.
yeah.
Well, but no lodging, no meals,
no lot. We did day hunts only.
We didn't have that to offer.
Okay, so that's not really. That's kind of where it's at. We, on a rare occasion, we get a bunch of doe tags, and we'll do a doe day, and it's $100 gate fee, and then $200 doe after that.
Yeah.
And it includes no food, no lodging, no nothing. You're just coming out and killing deer. So I mean, you're still kind of on that price point.
Drop and haul, essentially, right?
Pretty much, and that didn't even include. That included gutting, skinning, and quartering was extra.
Okay.
Now, when we started, I think we were, what was we, like 100 or 150?
150.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were giving away.
We were
that.
giving them away,
150
and still getting complaints like, "Oh, I can't pay $150 for a doe tag."
I get people all the time that call and say, "Well, you're just too high." Then we're not your cup of tea.
Go somewhere
and
else.
I'm very applied about it and everything else. I mean, you know, we're okay. We're not your cup of tea. When you come out with us, you know, you get this, and this, and this. You know, I'm not on here to promote the Monteith Ranch, but you know, with us, you definitely get what you pay for,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of the honest operations out there. Now, not all operations are, and that don't matter if you're low fence, high fence,
Yeah.
or I mean, and it's just not a hunting industry as a whole. You know, not everybody is honest, but we're honest. You know, I make no qualms about what to expect or whatever, and I get return customers year after year after year after year.
That says enough right there for what you're giving and produce or providing to the client.
That's another thing for clients too that do come. They're not only paying for an animal. I mean, there's a whole experience that comes along.
They
with
are.
It, and they're paying for that.
Personalities have a lot to do with it when it comes to showing up to a property.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to my boys from
Facts.
Tennessee. They've been coming down, I think, for 6 or 7.
Cool dudes. I don't know them, but they must be cool dudes.
Oh man, they can come down for 6 or 7 years. Actually, I think it's been over 7 years, and they just do hog hunts with us. But they book at least 2 hog. Last year they booked 3 hog hunts with us, but they booked 2 hog hunts, and it's the same core group of guys, and they just bring their buddies down and everything else. And they used to do some public land stuff and everything else. They'd rather come down there, spend their money, come to Texas, have a good time. And like you said, it's personalities. I mean, we kind of treat them like family. They're there for the experience. And like, they always got the one guy that'll try to get me rattled and, you know, and the banner back and forth and everything else. And
this sounds like a cool group. If you guys are looking for a couple extra guys to add to your group, give us a call. We'll come out and hunt with y'all.
And, you know, we actually got told last year by that group, they got a little bit better rate because they had been coming for so many years or whatever. I got told by the owners that that I had to bump the price up on them. Man, it killed me, but I see the numbers. Like now with AI and everything else, you can't deny the numbers. You know, we weren't making a dime.
At this point, it's common knowledge.
That is so. If you didn't just hear what Josh said, go ahead and AI ChatGPT the operational cost of high fence hunting operations. I bet you will be amazed.
Well, Polaris now is for a bare minimum decent Polaris is $20,000.
Yeah, dude,
it is bananas, man.
And you're
so
absolutely
crazy.
right. That's a bare minimum.
And that's a very needed tool. That's not just a cool toy. It's not a toy. That is a tool.
And you might as well figure on getting maybe 2 years out of a Polaris.
And
maybe.
Man, guys, we're about to, I'm going to start stomping my foot back
I know,
here.
man.
This is what's crazy.
My palms are sweating.
We're only talking about hunting season.
And we're only scratching the surface of things.
Oh, of course, but the operational cost doesn't start and end at hunting season.
No, it's year round.
It's year round. And it's the maintenance, like you said, the fence mending, the property maintenance, the improvements, all those things that happen year round. It's not just, hey, when you calculate, I'm going out there this weekend and you're paying X amount of dollars, that goes towards that entire year of getting you that opportunity. It's not just you're paying me for this weekend. It's kind of like paying an engineer, right? Like they get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
You don't pay an engineer for their 9 to 5. You pay them for the years of experience they have.
Pay them for that lump 3 feet above their ass they use for
that's it, brother.
That's it,
and
right there.
Now for you guys, you have your guides, you have your skinning and cording guys. You guys got the hospitality portion. All those things get they got to get paid too.
Oh, they absolutely do. But here this is a really good analogy because we do direct consumer cattle or whatever, and I'm not going to get into exact numbers, but it is 100% cheaper to buy a whole cow from us, process and everything else delivered to your door than piece it out at HEB all the time.
Yeah. We'll be talking after this, by the way.
But what gets me is, I don't think, and it's such an ingrained mindset in people's, because let's be honest, most hunters and stuff, they're type A personalities. They're
stuck.
They're stuck in their ways, and I could argue with them until they're blue in the face, and we each have our own ideas or whatever. But it's hard to get them to understand that they had the lease price, they had this, and they had this. It's actually cheaper kind of to come out to the high fence place, and we're doing conservation work, we're doing all this. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but high fences definitely have their place, and then the corporate style of it too. And at that point, you're also trying to promote hunting and fishing and stuff to people that otherwise might not be able to do it.
Yeah.
Like we have some clients, multiple different clients, but in specific, we have several big, and we do corporate style dove hunts out there, and there are people that's the only chance a year they get to dove hunt, and we make it an experience for them. And so we wouldn't be able to do that if we had lease hunters and so on and so on. And it's unfortunately in the state of Texas, it's pay to play, but your success rate is much higher. I've been to Montana 3 times elk hunting, tag soup every time. Now I did hit one on the side of a mountain. Bad things happened. Weren't able to recover it. Outfitter did his job. Guide sucked. But that's a different story for a different time. But 3 times, spent thousands of dollars to do this. One time, the company I work for paid for it, so it wasn't even out of my pocket, but it still cost me money to go do it and everything else.
That's the point.
It don't matter which way you slice it. You got to pay to play. Now, if you want to go out there and do all the work yourself, and because that's what you enjoy doing, man, more power to you.
Absolutely.
I did it for years. Had leases, everything else.
Yeah.
But if you just want to come out and have an experience, and like you said, that is one of our big things. It's the experience of how we put it on. I mean, we're out there catering to our clients. Now, I'm not going to, I might bring you a beer or something, but I'm not going to go in there and clean your gun for you and everything else. That's not the customer service we're talking about, but we're going to cook good homemade food. Like my wife is our camp cook, and it's you come out and you have a good time and everything else. And it's
okay. Check this out. We said you mentioned earlier you weren't going to you're not here to promote Monteith Ranch, but now I'm curious. Talk a little bit about walk me through the experience of what I can expect. I'm asking for me.
Yeah, brand new.
Okay, on a deer hunt?
Yeah.
Well,
and I want to go with my buddy, and we get a chance to hunt once a year together.
Okay, first of all, somehow we get contact, hooked up with each other and everything else. Figure out what dates you want to hunt, if we can make that happen or whatever. Once all that's said and done with, we're going to get a deposit to hold the dates. Got to do that. Used to not do that. Got burned too many times.
Yep, been there, done that.
Get a deposit down on the books. Then the day of the hunt, I'm probably going to call and talk to you about a week before. Make sure you got all the gear you need. And if you don't have something, we can help you provide it or whatever. And I've provided guns to people many a times that they showed up with a gun that wasn't adequate. Or
That
or so-
6.5 Creedmoor is not going to work. Here you
yeah.
go.
Yeah. Put that back in the truck. Put the 6.5 in the truck.
I had a Go Boy show up with a World War II era M1 Garand.
Great weapon.
Yeah, but it's not a
Not
Texas.
good, yeah.
You know, and I mean, this thing was in pristine shape. I'm like, we're going to put that back in the case, and you're going to use my old beat up 30-06 over here.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're going to show up to camp roughly noon, 1 o'clock ish. You're going to get your chance to get settled in, stow all your gear and everything else. Then the guide is going to take you and your buddy to the shooting range. Hopefully you can shoot. If not, we are going to harass you beyond
Right.
all expectation
Right.
and make fun of you. And
Come with a
everything
thick
else.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. If you have low self-esteem,
Stay at home.
correct.
Go to church.
And then come back to the lodge, probably grab a quick snack, get a game plan together with your guide, what we're going to do if y'all want to hunt together, you know, or you want to hunt by yourself. If you want to have a guide sit with you, there are certain areas of the ranch that we require a guide to sit with you. Get all that figured out. You'll hunt that evening, come back. Hopefully we got some blood on the tailgate. We spend some time out at the skinning shed, drinking a beer, standing around a fire. You'll watch the guide take care of your animal for you. If you want to help, more than welcome to, but it's not required. Of course, lots of pictures, lots of storytelling and everything else. Then go eat dinner, wake up, repeat for a day, wake up, repeat for another day. And then that last morning, most people don't get up and go hunting. You know, they're tagged out by then. Like out at our place, we got hogs aplenty. So after you do tag out on your trophy animal, if you want to kill a doe for some extra meat, you're more than welcome to. And then you can go sit by yourself and shoot a pigs. At that point, I really don't care. And then like the last morning, it's always biscuits and gravy. That's the last meal we always serve.
Why was that the one thing he said that sold me?
He's like, pencil me in.
And that's our basic deer hunt. We can add stuff to that. We don't really take anything away from that.
That was a lot. That's your basic deer hunt. I don't know if y'all heard that, but that's a hell of an experience on the Monteith to me.
And, you know, you got a guide with you basically the whole time, like during the day. If you want to go back to the range and shoot, he's there to facilitate your needs. If you want to, we got a little stock tank. I say a little stock tank. We got a pretty good fishing tank in the back. You know, it's a little over an acre or whatever. We got some good bass and stuff in there. If you want to go throw a line, go fishing. A lot of people like to go into town and go check out, you know, local gun stores or do stuff like that. I mean, you know, you're not there as a prisoner or anything else. You're more welcome to go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And you know, we serve a big breakfast after the hunt in the morning. We served a big old breakfast, and then you know, during the middle of the day, there's always crap to snack on or whatever, and then we serve the dinner at night. So you're getting 2 big full meals, and then plus all the snacks you can handle.
Let me tell you about my public land experience for 3 days while I'm out there grinding that shit out.
ain't got
It
none of
is
that.
nothing like that. I'm living on trail mix, beef jerky,
Yep.
sleeping
Sunflower
under the tree.
seeds.
Yeah, like just no.
Yeah,
Oh,
counting
yeah.
my protein, like I need this and I need
mean,
to ration that.
I will say, you know, I never thought I would in my life say that I'd be defending high fence hunting. I never ever thought I would say that. But as you know, we've been talking about it. There is a place for everything, and I think that you have to be super close minded to say that there's not a place in hunting for high fence or outfitters. I don't think that I'll personally ever pay for a high fence hunt. I don't think that people that do pay for high fence hunts almost exclusively. I don't think that you're a great hunter. I'm not saying you're not a hunter, but you're not a great hunter. In most cases, I think there's some bragging rights that maybe go, and that's just a personal opinion. You know, I think maybe there's some bragging rights that can go away, but other than that, dude, there is nothing wrong with it. I can't figure any reason.
I don't know that I can agree about the not being a great hunter type of deal. I challenge you, and we're going to have to come back and do this next year because I want to challenge you to come out. I can show you pictures of these deer that we have on our high fence, and we can have them halfway patterned, and then the rut hits or whatever, and then you got to beat the ground. You got to get out there and you got to do some hunting.
Yeah, I mean,
I would challenge you to come out and try to harvest one of these deer or an axis. You know, they're super edgy animals anyway. You know, I don't think it takes away from somebody's hunting ability because we get guys that come out to our high fence place all the time that have hunted all over the world. I mean, up in the mountains of Alaska and everything, but they that particular species, or they're taking their kid hunting for the first time.
Josh, I think we're gonna have to put this to the test, man. I think so. That you got a couple guys here that kind of think that.
How about we do it? We'll shoot them with a camera, not a gun.
Yeah,
Click, got him.
yeah, and then come back and say that's how close I got. So we got to get within bow range.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Get within bow range, take a picture, right? Because it's not fair that we go out there and drop a trophy animal and all that just for argument, just for. But I think this could settle your argument if you be like, hey. But
I'll tell you the reason I say that is I say that only because if you got 3 days, you sit in a spot long enough for 3 days, especially on a high fence. But I mean, you think about that, even anywhere, you sit in one spot long enough, it's just time. That was only.
I beg to differ. I sat on the side of a hill in Montana for 4 days straight. And
Well,
I didn't see crap to shoot at.
That's a fair statement. You've done it out there. I haven't. So
I mean, and two, we're gonna have to set up some rules and parameters. Are you just looking for any deer to capture with your camera, or are we looking after a specific
you pick
deer?
one. Yeah, you pick one.
I think a class we could go with between this class and that class.
That's probably we're looking for 140 inch to 150 inch deer, and I'll give you stands you can choose from, or you can choose to take the guide's advice, and you got to go out there and sit, and because we all know it, and every hunter does. That deer can be there every day. Like somebody's ringing the deer bell.
Yeah.
You go up that tree and he'll come in and he'll be like, no, something ain't right, and turn and burn.
Yeah. Ain't it crazy how one little detail can change and they'll notice it and be like, no, not today.
And that's something else too. Like you can say that I know for a fact I've taught or helped educate and got people to become better hunters by their first couple hunting experiences are with me.
I think that's perfect. That's the way. I think if you're getting into hunting, just learning, I think your first 2 to 3 hunts, maybe just a meat hunt or something. It
at least get an outfitter.
Yeah, get an outfitter, because the amount of things that you can learn and will learn in that short amount of time is going to be. There's so many fundamentals that you learn on your first sit.
Well, there's some key details there that you kind of leave out, and I'll hit those. So. We've all said this before. We've been outfitters and we've had a property that we managed and we knew, and you may be a way better hunter than us. Mm-hmm. And I won't argue that. But what you can't be is more
in tune with the land,
with that property.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to know that property better than you do.
100%. Don't guide the guide.
There you go.
Man, so, how many times has that happened?
Say that louder so they hear it again in the back.
I mean, and I've had guys, look, man, I feel if you go over here and you sit here, you're going to have the best opportunity. Well, so-and-so saw this over here. And okay, so-and-so's been out here for 2 days. He knows property better than me.
Yeah.
Right?
Get after it, buddy.
Go for it.
And then at the end, I didn't kill it. You didn't listen.
You didn't listen, man. We've had that argument.
Or you get a guy in the blind and there's deer out in front of you or whatever, and boom, there goes his binoculars on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'm just going to practice or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
I don't know how many times we've been sitting back.
One kills me is the water bottles.
The
empty water bottle, that crackle it. I'm like,
the one that kills me is this.
Oh,
they paid for a hunt, and this is all they're doing. But we're sitting a quarter mile back, looking through binos, calling these like there's deer in front. Oh shit! Okay. Like, dude, man, come on.
Yeah, I bet you have a ton of stories that you could share with us. We got to bring you back and talk like.
Oh, I'd have to bring one of my guides too. Just some of the stuff that we've seen. I mean, in it. But it's all part of the experience. I mean,
it's not bashing anybody. It's just kind of like, you know what? Also, by sharing it, some people can learn from hearing about someone else and their experience and how they did some things maybe wrong or what they could do better if they were to go with an outfitter. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Don't show up wearing white hey dudes. That's not going to be the
or baby blue polo shirts and khakis and loafers.
So like these are things that we can talk about, laugh about, and bash about. But at the same time, there's a reason behind that. If you want to come out in white hey dudes and be claiming you want to go on a spot and stalk, good luck, buddy.
But we'll try.
Oh yeah, I mean you gotta always try.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
And like our property isn't super conducive to spot and stalk. We're thick property. They're gonna hear you coming before you can see them. And there are some properties. especially further east, where you can get up on a ridge and you can look and you can see
Yeah.
and see if you can make a sneak on a deer. We're not, and people all the time, well, you think we could spot and stock? No, not out here, man. It's really not that good a property.
You're just
whatever.
being honest, man.
And,
You're just being honest.
Well, I'd like to try. Okay, let's go spot and stock. Then we do that for all day or whatever. Man, we didn't see anything. I wonder why.
Yeah,
you know?
and you put a lot of pressure on moving around.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
and you bumped every deer in the pasture.
Yeah, that side over there is blown out. Man.
Yeah.
You know, and we're real lucky, especially when it comes to whitetail. Not so much our exotics, but we're real lucky with our whitetail that we have so much acreage, so that we do have
Rotate.
We can move around when we get heavy pressure in other places and everything else. And that's another thing about corporate leases or corporate style leases, and maybe corporate's not the right word we should be using, but outfitters.
Yeah.
You know, using an outfitter per se, because corporate makes it sound like we only cater to higher end clientele.
Right. No,
And,
that's the
you know,
that's
so,
not what we mean by corporate. Yeah.
you know, maybe we
let's
should
call it
use the
outfitters.
term outfitters is a little bit better, but you know, maybe you don't want to go sit the same property for 30 years. You know, you want to see different country, have
Mix it
different
up.
experience, meet different people. So, I mean, it's, you know, there's the corporate lease and the high fence stuff. It definitely has its place. And two, I've had several clients that come out, and it's funny, they'll shoot one exotic. They're like, man, it's like getting a tattoo. Now I got to add this one to my collection. I got to add.
Oh yeah, never thought of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, never really put it in. Now I
Yeah.
like that.
Like,
Because
like
I
I-
was just sitting here thinking about sitting on Monteith, right? And I was thinking, imagine how many. Say let's just say you're on a meat hunt for a doe on a doe day.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the possibilities of what animals you would see.
Imagine that big oryx comes out,
Yeah,
and you're
you
like,
know what I
I've
mean?
never seen an oryx.
Exactly.
I want that really
you know,
bad.
just
Yeah.
to see different,
We had a guy that
exotics.
was on a whitetail hunt, and a Pierre David bull walked out in front of him, and that was not on the menu in any way, shape, or form. These guys we're down here to whitetail hunt. We don't care about exotics. Da da da.
How many times has that pocketbook opened up to
They
take
pull
that?
back to camp, and I look in the back of the Polaris. For one, I'm wondering how the world they got that big sucker in the back of the Polaris by themselves. And for two, I'm like, that's not a whitetail.
Oh
And-
hell!
And Brian gets out. He goes, man, I had to have it when I saw it.
Oh, he
goes,
didn't even ask first.
He was with a guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay.
got it.
You
So
know-
he was like, "Hey, can I take it?"
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
no. Like I said, there's certain areas of the ranch
You gotta be guided.
You got because we had a mishap, and this is when the rule came into effect, and I still don't know how this happened. That was supposed to be shooting a spike whitetail, or whatever. We had a couple big cow horn spikes, and it. We're not going to get into talking about management because we're just going to get bashed all over.
Whole new conversation.
But anyway, we were buck heavy, and we needed to knock some bucks down. So I thought spikes were a safe alternative. Well, they sent me a picture. I got one, and it's a red deer spike.
Oh man.
I'm like, that thing's
Oh,
300 pounds bigger than the whitetail. So after that, it was like, nah, if you're back there in that area, you're going to have a guide with you. And the guy was truly, I mean, he wasn't BSing. This guy was truly in shock that he didn't even know what a stag was.
just
so
can
you don't
imagine the
You still believe high fence hunters are the same? I'm joking.
well.
I'm just poking, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. We had a good time talking today. We're gonna have to bring you back here. Maybe we can do this kind of
do got-
periodically because you got so much different aspects.
Dude, the management, the animal management would be really cool. The land that's a whole podcast in
I wanna
itself.
talk
The
that.
land and animal management, but that's super. Like I'm really curious about a lot of knowledge you have on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn this
Interested in
cameras
it.
off before I start asking you more questions.
I
but-
do have one more question for. I guess maybe it's a statement you give everybody. One or maybe two or three reasons why you should pick a outfitter, a high fence outfitter, and one or two reasons why you shouldn't. Why it may not. Why it could be for you, and why if you're in this, probably not
situations
for you.
probably not for you.
Yeah.
Okay, the why not? That's actually fairly easy. If you're a big do-it-yourself kind of person and you like a huge challenge, we're probably not your cup
Yeah.
of tea.
Yep.
And once again, that's people's personalities. Why you definitely should look at an outfitter or even a high fence. And like I said, you know, people have this thought about a high fence. You're walking into a pen and just knocking something on the head. It's really not like that on a true acreage high fence. So it is a hunting experience. You're just hunting a different type of management type of deal. But if you have questions or if you just don't have the time to put into doing it yourself and to do all that, then we're probably what you need to come talk to. You know, we don't ever guarantee. There are high fences out there that have guaranteed shot opportunities and so forth and everything else. But also, if you're just looking for an adventure, you know, we pay thousands of dollars to go to Mexico to have an adventure or wherever, you know, and if you're in outdoors, wherever, you know, it's just booking another adventure is what it is. I mean, it definitely has its place.
And it could be right down the road from your house, but it's a whole adventure.
And also let's look at this, and this is one thing we didn't really touch on, but I feel it's really important, is we're, as a hunting community, we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller, right? You know, the numbers show it, you know, so we've got to get the young kids into this game and keep it strong, keep it alive. Otherwise, we're going to lose everything we got. You know, do you want your kid's first experience to be on the side of that mountain, pouring down rain, eating trail mix, living in the mud, or do you want him to go out to a high fence or whatever, stay in kind of a comfortable bed and get to kill an animal and everything else and have a great time? No, you're going to get two sides to that argument. With one is, oh, you're just pussification, da-da-da-da-da.
Well, you could make them or break them on one hunt.
I did make them and break them on my kid with hunting. I did exactly what you just said, and I ruined my kid from hunting, but he loves fishing.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm getting at, is you bring him out, he has a good experience, get him hooked first.
There you go.
You know, here's a little bit of that drug we call hunting, and
That's
he
right.
gets it in him, and then he can work his way to those miserable experiences.
Yeah.
Or you could be like my dad, you know, career military and everything else. Hey, Dad, let's go camp on the side of the mountain. I did that in the Army.
Yeah, I do that shit all the time.
We did a whole podcast about me not camping again.
Yeah, he goes, or I could afford to go to a lodge and stay in a lodge.
Yeah.
Touche, Dad.
Yep. And both that's all great points, and I mean that's the reason, because there's all them sides that are out there, and hopefully you know that are going to be watching this, and I hope that we maybe change some of your minds on you know the high fence or the outfitter style, Texas style hunting.
And if we didn't change your mind, I hope we just kind of opened it.
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
Because now you have a little bit more insight to, you know, like he just said, if this is you're this type, then this is for you. If you're this type, this is for you. However, having heard a little bit what we discussed today, maybe you're a little bit more open to it, to where like it maybe someone invited you out to go hunt with them on a high fence. Maybe you're now more open-minded, like Jimmy. And maybe, let's say I was paying for it. Hey, man, let's go check it out. I paid for it. We're going out. We're going to go have this experience. I can tell you that I know for a fact 3 years ago, I don't care if I was paying for it, he was paying for it, someone else donated, he just wouldn't have gone.
I wouldn't have. And that's the stubbornness and the closed-mindedness of it. And that sounds touche or kind of, I don't know what the buzzwords nowadays are for that, but it's just the way it is. You got to educate yourself and see. You got to see big picture. Don't look through the straw. Look big picture, and it, you know, kind of makes sense at that point.
I'm curious. We're gonna be talking. I'm gonna try to figure out how I can get down there and do a couple of experiences. I mean, I'm a big dove hunter. You guys ain't far. I got to see what that's about. I got to get on a turkey next year, and I got to get a whitetail under my belt. So I'm never going to financially recover from this, but no, I know how much money I spend
on just on hunting.
My wife don't, but she going to see the bill for this though, but she going to come with me. This is what's great.
That'll be cool. Yeah.
This is what's great. That's what I'm thinking, is like, how can I get my wife to go with me? Cause she's got limited time, right? She's a teacher. I'll get her out with me. She loves. I think her first love is either duck hunting or dove hunting. But she likes bird hunting, you know? So if I get her out there, do a dove hunt, tuck her in and be like, you come out with me, you know, later in the season, we do a whitetail hunt, at least she'll go with me.
Yeah. Then you show her the amenities too. You know, you're not sleeping on a cot in a tent somewhere. Here's this nice bed. You got your own private bathroom. You know, we're not living like animals out here.
Good. That's what she's going to be concerned about is like,
She wouldn't come to our outfit. She didn't want
Yeah,
to.
she wouldn't-
My wife used to say, "I don't want no
yeah,
part
she
of that."
wasn't, she
A
wasn't.
little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
One of my first deer leases, my wife walked in the door, turned around, and walked right back out. And that was one of my first deer leases. It wasn't my first. My first deer lease, we had tents. That's what we slept in and everything else. And I'm like, no, honey, this is, man, we got a bed. We got that thing that looks like a shower. I mean, this is
big
high
living.
class.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it though. That's the only time we paid to make ourselves miserable during hunting season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been in the duck blind at 7 degrees outside, and you're constantly having to do this with your actions so it doesn't freeze up and everything else. I mean,
holding deer season, holding your grunt tube under your arm so it don't freeze up.
Yeah. Just to get that read.
Won't even blow.
Yeah, man. It's not for everybody doing that kind of hunt.
Yeah.
And perfect reason to bring Josh on to talk about,
I think I have 2 to 3 more public land seasons in me, and I'm probably going strictly outfitter after that. I'm getting old and tired.
Well, I really had a good time getting out there this year, but I think I'm with you. I felt every bit of my age this year.
Mhm.
For the first time, if I'm being honest, like my mind and my heart wanted to keep going, but my legs were telling me something different.
Oh yeah, we went a couple years ago. I went down Drew to go to Lagoon Madre, down south or whatever. And man, I'm sitting out there, it's archery and everything else, and there's this nilgai bull. He's probably 70, 80 yards out there. He ain't quite within my comfort zone or whatever. Never got to connect with him. Don't know really what happened. Them nilgai, they're so, he was just on a mission or whatever. Never got within range. And I got back in the truck after that, and I'm thinking, I just walked 4 miles back.
Yeah.
What the hell had happened if I'd have shot that damn thing?
Man, I've been, yeah, I've made some shots and then been like, oh shit, what do I do now?
And
Once again, another good reason to have an outfitter.
Yeah.
Well, and I do this for a living. I mean, I can slick a deer down.
Oh, yeah.
Or, big animals, oryx, elk. I've done them all, stag or whatever. I know what I've done. I'd have made a big animal into little pieces and I'd have packed them out. But man, I'm past 40 and, I've had some major surgeries and everything else. I'm like, I'm going to kill myself just so I can say I went out there and did this.
But you know what? You would do it though. You'd be like,
I'd still do it to this day.
Me too, exactly.
I'd
ask y'all this. During the hunting season, do you get in better shape? The normal, I've heard this.
You're talking to a guy who's in this shape.
the normal American, gains weight during the winter and stuff like that.
I lose a good
I
5,
shed
10.
weight during the fall and winter.
My pants are falling off me.
With us running a hunting camp or whatever, getting those big home cooked meals all the time.
Oh yeah, you got the wife out there cooking it. Yep.
It's I actually put a little bit of weight on.
I will say we started.
My wife was sending us food.
Also, it changed when we got the side by side. Before we were just hauling, everything and roughing it, kind of a lot more primitive.
Yeah.
And we were doing more spot and stalks, and then we got more nicer hard stands on the property. Everybody's like, "Nah, I just want to sit in the stand."
I was sitting in this nice stand.
So we were literally just dropping people off in the stand, coming back to deer camp, go pick them up, bring their deer, skin the deer. It wasn't a whole lot of walking, and I noticed that I wasn't losing the way we were losing when we
first started.
Yeah, because I'd come home 5 pounds lighter on the weekend, when we were first guiding out there, and then after that, I was like, I come back and I felt energized, slept, rested, all that. I was like,
that's a nice bed. That's
but
when
we first started out there, thinking when you came out there, it was a little different for us. But man, again, I'd like to say I'd do it all over again. I don't know. There's some things I've learned the hard way. I'd do it different. I'd probably go be a hand at Monteith if I did.
It's a labor of love.
It is a labor of love.
It really is. You have to. I've got a couple guys that, stuck with me, been with me for a couple years, and we fairly high turnover rate on guides because people get out there and they don't realize what all is involved with it. And so, but I've got a couple guys that have stuck with it through the years and everything else, and they, it's all the same kind of mentality about helping other people out and doing that. And you got to love hunting. I
Yep.
mean, you got to love the outdoors. You got to love hunting.
All aspects of it, not just the hunting part too.
Oh,
Yeah.
correct. And, and that's one of the reasons we have a turnover rate on some of the guides and stuff. Yeah, they want to come out for the hunts and be the guide, but they don't want to be the one fixing blinds, cutting roads, doing all that other stuff. And, it takes a lot to be an all-around guide or whatever, but it is definitely a labor of love. And, it takes a strong support system. I mean, my life as general stops about 1st of September through the end of April-ish or whatever. My wife and my family and everybody realizes that
You're gone.
Well, I mean, I'm lucky enough to live on the ranch that I outfit on, but it's 4 or 5 days a week, and then on the days you do have off, the only thing you want to do is sleep because you've only gotten 4 hours of sleep for 5 days straight.
Yeah.
And that's something else that a lot of people don't realize is a good guide. He's up before his hunters are. And he's making sure everything's done.
He's
and
up late checking wind, doing all this.
Now, I'm not going to say once they're sitting down at the dinner table and everything else and all that's done with, I'm not sneaking out the back door and just going to go on ahead to the house because I got to do this for multiple days in a row, but
you got to maintain.
It's just hunting in general is such a labor, like we talked about at the very beginning, is that whole I'm just in it for the meat. No, you're in it because you enjoy hunting in some form, fashion, unless you're a psychotic serial killer, that just enjoys killing things. You're in it because you love the outdoors and you like to hunt.
I really do love it, and I think you hit the nail on the head. If you're guiding and you're outfitting and stuff, you ain't in it for the money, man.
If
you're doing it because you love it.
And for the clients that do come out, like if a client, this is kind of like asking a woman how old she is, and I probably shouldn't ask this question, but I'm going to. We did a whole podcast about it. If a client comes out and your guides put them on the experience that you put them on, should that client tip that guide?
100%.
Thank you. Yes.
You guys heard it from
yes, thank you.
It's
kill them in the comments. Don't kill us. We're just telling you what we know.
You heard the work, that Josh said these guides go through.
Here, let me break it down for you so everybody understands, and there's been some great, like Jim Shockey wrote a great article on this or whatever. Keep this in mind. We pay our guides a day fee.
Yeah.
That's all they get. And they can go, I promise you, they can go and probably pick up trash for the city for more money than what we pay them. Now we give them food and they get some perks, but they don't get a bunch of perks. But that buggy you're riding in probably belongs to that guide. That pair of binoculars you're borrowing because they're a high quality pair, they belong to that guide. Them specialized clothes that he's wrapping your little kid up in, probably, they belong to that guide.
Hot hands, heater buddies.
The fact that you go out there and you're successful is based on the fact that guide probably spent his own time away from his family doing his homework so you could be successful. It is 100% a customer service oriented operation. That cook who's cooking your meals, how is that any different than you going to Applebee's and sitting at a table and that waitress giving you better service?
Brother, we're with you 100%. We did a whole podcast on it and people just smashing about like, oh, we're tired of this tipping thing.
It was probably 50-50. I will say
it was probably about 50-50.
But for those that are against it, they're like hard against it.
But it's educating, like what you were just doing, educating, letting, some people do know that we're against it, but most didn't. And we said what you said almost verbatim.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just an etiquette. It's what you do.
I can't leave the dinner table at a restaurant without tipping the waitress. And she's not the one that cooked it.
Correct. And in a good restaurant though, they should be getting a till to the back to the kitchen or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But I mean that's not where we're going at or whatever, but it's just like any other argument. Just touch briefly on this because I know we're almost out of time or whatever, but well, then the restaurant should pay them enough money. Well, then the price of the food's going to go up. Same thing, I'll pay my guys a better fee. No problem. But then don't gripe about the price of your hunt.
Absolutely.
Type of deal. And it's...
There's only so much meat on the bone at any given, thing.
There is.
Yeah, if you get your roof done at your house, right? And the roof guy comes in, gives you an estimate and says, this is how much the roof's going to be. he's got to make some money too, man.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got to pay his laborers, and he's got to come and do all that. He's got to go give the estimate. He's got to drive back home. He's got to spend.
He's buying the materials. He's
man
hauling them
hours.
to your house. He's doing all the behind the scene work.
So it's like, I want it done cheaper. Well, then you're going to get what you pay for. You know what I mean? You're probably not going to get that quality of a tile on your roof. You're probably not going to get, you know, this layer of insulation or whatever they do. But, you know, it's just get what you pay for. But at the same time, I guess that wasn't a good example because there's not a service. It's not, you don't tip your
I'm not
roofers.
tipping my roofer.
You're not tipping
No,
your roofer.
yeah.
I think the restaurant business is the perfect one because that's a perfect example. You're paying for the experience. That waitress came back and forth or waiter came back and forth and gave you an experience and made sure your meal and that you enjoyed it with your family or whatever that experience. Now, if you, by the same token, if that guide was not great and the guide was, you know, maybe just didn't welcome you well, or typically it's going to be a personality problem. It isn't going to be the effort. I mean, guides are there. They have to be there. They're.
I've been on hunts with outfitters, you know, out west and everything else a few different times, and sometimes guides just suck.
Yeah, and then your tip will reflect that.
There you go.
That service.
Correct.
But not tipping them, man,
it feels like a slap in the face. Like I did everything I could do. You were successful. You told me how great of an experience you had, and then you're like, "Cool,
shake my hand and
I'm
leave."
out."
That's
Yeah, I mean, and there's no excuse to not know either, because anybody in the hunting industry knows that you should be tipping your guide. You really should. Even if it's, and I get it, some blue collar, but I'll tell you what, the blue collar boys are more likely to tip than the white collar boys.
100%. Here's my, I say this all the time. If you can't afford the tip, you can't afford to go on that hunt, or you can't afford to go on that fishing trip.
And I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for it, but it's a minimum of 10%. It probably should be closer to 15 to 20.
Right.
And I mean, if, like, we've had customers out, they bring their kids, and I mean, it's a whole shit show trying to get the kid in the buggy, the parent in the buggy. You know, you're trying to do all this, and that poor guy, he's over there just juggling the world. He works his butt off all weekend, you know, doing all this and everything, and then you hand him $50 on a $5,000 hunt. To me, like I said, that's almost a slap in the face.
It is, man.
I'd
Just
rather
take it back.
not get a tip.
Yep, take it back.
Yeah.
But I tell you what,
that's like leaving a couple quarters on a table at a restaurant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, the next time them folks come down, they ain't going to get that kind of service.
Exactly. It sounds very ungrateful to say, like, yeah, take your $50 back. But
if $50 doesn't cover the gas for me to got to the property.
The point I'm making is that it almost makes it feel disrespectful. So for, like you said, like, I don't even want it. I don't want to feel disrespected. Just take it back. You need it more than I do, I guess.
And there are going to be them people that they think they're doing good. So I guess we shouldn't say that it's.
It depends on that personality. You're going to know that person throughout the hunt.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I have guided some folks, and man, there's this one old boy, took him hunting all the time and everything else, and he'd give you like $50 at the end of the weekend. He really thought that was something.
Yeah.
And then I've also taken people out, and they tip right at 20% to the penny, because that's what they do. You know?
We had clients who paid three times the amount of the hunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is how much.
No, it was over 3 times. So.
And it was just like a shock to us, but they were just like, here, no, that's for you.
Well, we didn't even know. You know how, like, they'll if they tip you, they'll tip you in cash sometimes.
Yeah, we just put it in the pocket.
You just put,
shook their hand.
count.
Thank you.
Yeah. So they gave us both a tip, and we were like, oh, cool. Man, they drove off. We got everything cleaned up. We're driving home, splitting it. Well, I think you had it. They handed it to one person. He starts, splitting it up, and he's like, Jimmy, I think they messed up. We need to call them.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, look. And I was like, oh, shit, we got to call them. They messed up. They messed up somewhere. We need to give them money back.
No, we wanted it. That's the experience we had. You know what I mean? And that's the flip side of the argument, right? Like, one says, well, then raise your prices. Well, what if they didn't raise their price? Your price is what your price is. No, you're not going to compromise that. It's like compromising quality over quantity, right?
And here's probably a really good point that a lot of people overlook on this. that tip goes to the guide and the staff, not to
The outfitter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say the outfitter or whatever, but it doesn't go into the overall
Right.
cost of everything. So, for easy numbers, say your hunt's $5,000. Well, you're not going to. We don't want to tip, so now we got to jack the price up $6,000. So there's no way in the world any company or anything's going to say, "Oh, we're going to give that $1,000 to them guys."
Yeah.
No, okay, we're going to
Yeah.
give you a $20 a day raise, and
Yeah.
that's your
Yeah.
compensation type of
Yeah.
deal. That's what you got to think about. That tip goes to the individuals that worked and made that hunt happen for
That
you.
experience for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, speaking of experiences, man, this was a good experience to have you here with us, man. I genuinely want to do this more often with you, man. I think we can probably swing it if, obviously you're about to get really busy, and hopefully I can contribute to that. So, man, it was a pleasure having you on today, man. Is there anything you want to close out with anybody today that are watching and, hearing about Monteith Ranch for the first time and,
Well, encourage everybody, of course, look us up online, www.monteithranch.com. We rebranded our website, trying to make it better, trying to get with the times now, target that little bit younger audience. But one thing I'd like to say, and I always say this to everybody, hunters need to stick together. We need to quit bashing each other on social media. This was all about corporate lease and high fence today. Of course, we went down a bunch of different rabbit holes, but we need to come together as a community and focus on just keeping our hunting rights instead of how people choose to hunt.
yeah.
That's the biggest thing I'd like to walk away from this deal with.
Well, you guys heard it there, and we're going to close out with that. If you enjoy this kind of podcast and you enjoyed today, man, make sure you like and subscribe and follow us. Drop a comment if there's something you disagree with today. If you do agree, make sure you let us know. If you'd like to ask some questions for Josh, I'm sure we're going to have him on again. Maybe we can drop those questions next time we have him on. Until then, this has been the Cast and Blast podcast. Real fishing, real hunting, real talk. See you guys on the next one.